Decentralized exchange and even everything that's decentralized is still something that the industry as a whole needs to achieve. And it's something that needs to be put at the forefront of what matters. A lot of times we like to think, well, we have to start centralized and then move towards decentralization. But historically speaking, in the short period of time that we've actually been in this space, we've never seen that happen.
Why are today's decentralized exchanges not so decentralized?
From my background, I actually started in my journey into blockchain started with a decentralized exchange. Long ago, before decentralized exchanges were actually a thing, it was a project called BitShares. And so BitShares has been around for many, many years in the development of trying to create a solution to what happened with Mt. Gox. For those who don't know Mt. Gox was this terrible scenario where when Bitcoin first was introduced, this central exchange was created and it became the most popular place where everybody traded their Bitcoin. And of course, just like what happens with every single central exchange, it ends up going down. Everybody loses their Bitcoin. And it was in a massive, it was just such a massive hit to the entire industry. So that's what happened with Mt. Gox. So the project with BitShares was the idea of we're going to create a decentralized exchange that's going to solve centralized exchange dilemma, which is giving your crypto to a third party, which you should never do, and then having to trust them to hold on to it for you while you're doing your trades and everything else, and hope and pray that when you try to take it out, you're going to get it, right? But of course, anyone who's had any experience in the crypto space knows the experiences will vary from exchange to exchange in terms of whether you're going to be able to get your Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency out of the exchange when you try to request it. Not to mention the KYC issues, and then there's hacks and everything else, and it's just a mess out there. Decentralized exchanges are supposed to solve that dilemma. When you look at the decentralized exchange landscape right now, though, the first thing that you're going to see is that when it comes to using a decentralized exchange, number one, the ones that claim to be a DEX are going to ask for your personal information and are going to actually require KYC. If it asks for KYC, it's not a real DEX, right? So you're going to see some that claim to be a DEX, but then they're asking for KYC. You're not dealing with a DEX at that point. You're dealing with some kind of counterparty that might be using blockchain in combination with what they're doing. That's not decentralized exchange. Second to that, some of the DEXs that are out there, they tend to also require a user interface to use the decentralized exchange. And that user interface, unfortunately, oftentimes, again, is a counterparty that's owned by a company. And what happens then is that there's the possibility that wherever you might be located, authorities can come down on that company and turn around and then say, hey, you need to start doing KYC on these customers that are using your interface. And the next thing you know, you're in a situation where you potentially could be locked out of your funds again, because if they control the interface, they can control your crypto as well. The only real decentralized exchange is where you have control of your keys. You're able to access the blockchain and the decentralized exchange from an existing interface that is not hosted by a third party. It's open and capable of being hosted anywhere. In those kinds of scenarios, you have real decentralization. But right now, many of the decentralized exchanges that are out there often have a layer where there's a company in front. And now we've seen actually in some cases where they may have a protocol that's on the blockchain that's decentralized, but if you put an interface in front that says, well, we're just going to censor these certain coins and you won't be able to have access to, and we're going to have to require that if you're from this country, we're going to block your IP, you haven't actually achieved decentralization, right? You're still at the behest of this single company that owns this interface. So decentralized exchange and even everything that's decentralized is still something that the industry as a whole needs to achieve. And it's something that needs to be put at the forefront of what matters. A lot of times we like to think, well, we have to start centralized and then move towards decentralization. But historically speaking, in the short period of time that we've actually been in this space, we've never seen that happen. It tends to go centralized, and because of the hindrances, whether it be liabilities, whether it be legal, whether it be lack of profitability, really, for the company or the entity to move towards decentralization, then they end up making decisions that go towards the interests of the company and not towards the interests of actually decentralizing the ecosystem. So as much as the industry as a whole and as much as the people who are using these interfaces love the idea of having a community coin being put out and being able to have governance of some kind where they're able to vote on what some elements of the project and whatnot, still, even when these I'll call it token governance emerges, there hasn't really been a full system. There hasn't been a system that's really allowed for the people to actually have input towards the outcome. And as long as there isn't a capability for everyone to participate, I don't think you're going to be able to achieve decentralization. As long as you put controls in place that are going to deterministically leave people out of being able to participate, you're going to end up with a system where people will feel that they are not valued and therefore don't trust the system the way they could if the system was really designed in a decentralized fashion.